Good afternoon. Conference and meeting spaces are crucial to return to live meetings. In this video podcast, we'll discuss about key ways to approach technology to create spaces where safety and social distancing can be combined with top-inspiring technology that facilitate hybrid working. We will be covering design trends, especially in furniture and audio and video technology, and how conference room and meeting room space design approach has changed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So, Henry, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and welcome to this first podcast from HOLM.
Do you think that hybrid meetings are here to stay?
I think that before we get further into hybrid meetings and all that, and of course there has been a big change the last 24 months, the answer is yes, it's here to stay. It's here to stay because we have become aware of how the whole situation have changed when we think about traveling, going from one end of the world to the other one within the same week. And we have realized that there's a lot of technology available right now that gives us the possibility of doing a lot of the things that we did before physically, face-to-face and together. We will always have to travel, we will always have to go and see each other. In the most important situation, we need to shake hands, we need to get the feeling, we need to get the vibe, and that cannot be digitalized, in my opinion. So it's definitely something that is going to stay. And mostly, one of the most important things is that just what we already have today, I think we need to step up. We need to step up when often we call a video conference call and we see people that don't turn on the video camera. So we both have the software side, the human side, and the hardware side that have to be adapted. Because there's a good reason why we have the video cameras. It makes all of the sense, since 70% of communication is what you see. It's your body language, it's your eyes and all this. So by not switching on the video camera, this is one of the first things that we have to repair.
Okay, and how do you think that corporations are preparing themselves to be able to combine hybrid and presential, face-to-face meetings?
Of course, depending on the size of the corporation, some are investing a lot of money, other ones are going in one direction, somebody's going in the other one. But the trend in general is that, when you set up a really good video call environment, it looks a bit like a control room. And there are companies that have special rooms just for this purpose. And that takes up a lot of space. You spend a lot of money on it. And since square meters in the cities are expensive, when they are investing, they are looking into how can we integrate this equipment, professional equipment, into our daily meeting rooms, so we get more flexibility, and we save on square meters because these ones, they are very important. So,
do you think that flexibility is one of the key issues to take into consideration, right?
Definitely, because flexibility and with the current technology that we have today have given us this possibility of continuing doing our work almost in the same way as we did before all this happened. And the first couple of months everybody was doing webinars, and the webinars could take 1 or 2 hours almost, and suddenly everybody figures out that the most time you can get from people will be 20 minutes. So people adapted to that, and this is the same with the technology. Now we're adapting, and the hybrid and the flexibility is going to continue. I think we'll see that there's a lot of flights we're not going to take where the technology, if the technology is right and if we know how to use it right, we're going to continue with these ones, and we're going to save time. We're going to have more quality in life. We're going to pollute less. Yes, we're going to take the flight when we have to, because it's important to be face-to-face as well. Nothing can replace that, but the flexibility is there to stay.
And focusing on the furniture and on the AV technology that you will integrate, for example, in a meeting room in general, how can we encourage this flexibility? How can we promote this flexibility?
There is this thing about technology. Everything is getting smaller and smaller, and everything can do more and more. We see that with our telephones. We see that with our cameras on our telephone, the quality that they have. But at the same time, we need to separate things. We need to have what is a work environment and what is a private environment. And when we need to distribute, when we need to mix a lot of signals at the same time, we're not looking at USB cameras. We are looking at HDSDI cameras, for example, since here it's much easier to treat the signal and to do the video distribution. So in this case, it's physically a bigger product, and that bigger product is not that, it doesn't fit that well into a nice boardroom or nice meeting room or huddle room, in a sense, when you have to have several to give the same coverage to everybody, meaning that you need to start thinking, looking at alternatives. And it's not alternatives about going back to the room that is only set up for a video call, but how can we hide it when not in use? At the same time, it has to be straightforward, it has to be easy, because we cannot expect the users to know anything about how to use the equipment. They just have to go in, press a button, and then the show is up running. Another thing we have seen is that the background, we can talk about background noise if we want. We can talk about backgrounds that is disturbing because of images, or there's a window or stuff like that. There's a lot of things to consider, and but we have to get it right for this flexibility, for this technology to be 100% usable and be a replacement of physical visits. So we need to hide things. We need to make the rooms, we always talk about creativity, thinking out of the box, and you cannot do that if you're under pressure from cameras that are sitting on the wall, or you're having an important conversation that is private or that is for the eyes in the room only. So, hiding it and making a clean work environment, and providing the flexibility that the room can be used for a lot of different purposes. You can also sit down and have a cup of coffee and conversations, let's say if it's in the boardroom, without having cameras, without having monitors in the way. So definitely we have to look at how we can make the room ready for each type of sessions that we are having in the room.
Very interesting. You are talking about flexibility, you are talking about ease of use, you are talking about integration with interior design of the room and hiding the technology as well. But what about the important aspects that have raised with the pandemic, like the emphasis on health and safety?
For sure, what we're still seeing is that the world is acting differently to what is going on, and we need still to focus on the distance, and by doing that and maintaining a clear view to whatever is being presented, and the same with the sound, to be able to be heard, to be able to hear. We need to mark very clearly the distance that we need to be in a safe environment. I know there's a lot of safety precaution being taken, but at the same time, this is extremely important. And a bit by integrating screens and microphones in fixed places in the room gives you automatically your position, or each individual's position within the room. So it is a big guideline to do so. You have more or less set up everything already just by integrating and having the things fixed. Let's say the alternative is that you're using a video wall at the end of a meeting room, and people is going to move around. Why? Because they cannot see. Some have more distance than other ones. If somebody have forgotten their glasses, or if the light is not right, or if it's let's say a presentation with a lot of numbers that is not designed for that room environment, you cannot really see the numbers, meaning that you have to move around. And during the presentation, you don't want to make noise, you don't want to create any disturbance, meaning that you're going to move around, you're going to touch other people and stuff like that. Again, we need to think out of the box. Who's thinking out of the box? Let's have a look at Tesla. They're thinking out of the box. Let's see the value of their company today compared with Ford. And if you look 10 years back, and everybody's saying that guy is thinking a lot out of the box, and maybe somebody will go into the extreme and say he's not 100%. But anyway, that's their opinion. But he's succeeding, and that's why. He makes a spaceship that can land again. Yeah, the other guys did that as well, but it had wheels, and this one doesn't. So for sure, we need to think out of the box. We need to believe in what we're doing. And Another thing that we come to is to look at the environment. We can get a very cheap plastic screen and put it up on the table for close to nothing. But the cost of driving into the city to parking, the pollution, that really runs up as well. So it's not only the material being used and the lifespans of the product, but it's also, you have to look at the time and money you spend on getting forth and back if you have to do that several times during the lifespan of an installation. So if you have an installation where you use quality product with a long lifespan, that's less visit. That means that's less pollution, that's less transport, that's less moving people around.
Yes, that's right. It's like sustainability is the word of the moment. Everybody's talking about sustainability, but how does this cope with AV technology, especially AV technology for meeting and conference rooms?
Yeah, but I think it comes down to that that we need something, as I said before, it's a press of a button, it has to be professional. We cannot mix consumer with professional. Why? Because they don't talk right together. There's not the same kind of lifespan. And we also need to keep focus. At the end, focus is everything. It's our productivity when we're in a meeting or when we're doing a hybrid meeting that is important. Productivity disappears when you cannot see somebody, when you cannot hear somebody, when the line is breaking up. So as I said, there's a lot of experts. I started talking about this, saying that, if it's a video call, you have to switch on your video. We see people sitting with their telephones and doing other stuff, but then they shouldn't be in the call in the first place. So that's a lot of things that is important. And for sure, you don't want to go in and out of these rooms. As you said, you optimize the space, the room just have to work. So you don't say, oh, the room is down because a mic is out or there's some AV issues. And you secure that along the way with quality product, with industrial products that is designed exactly for this purpose, that gives you as much back as you can expect, where mixing it, going on a laptop and stuff like that, going on a mobile device for that sort, and you start getting your WhatsApp coming in, both from work and from friends and stuff like that. It's not the right way to go. The right way to go is to be focused on your job and what you do and find a solution and optimize the meeting so the meetings doesn't take forever.
Yes, about staying focused and also about the trend to use shared spaces that we had before the pandemic. Do you think that this has changed? Because we were talking a lot about huddle rooms before the pandemic. We were talking a lot about co-working spaces. How do you see the future of these common areas to work together?
Yeah, huddle rooms, they came and they looks like they're going to stay. But of course, they were also a very small, tiny space, which lies in the name, which you're not going to go for right now unless you're wearing a mask. So I think they're going to change in the sense of the space they're going to take up, how you're seated. And I think that we will, in the future, they'll be giving a bit more space, more square meters to these kind of rooms to secure a more safe environment. But when we talk about this, it's also again a matter of the AV technology. If you can actually bring and be heard and be seen into a more open space, so again that you can have the flexibility of retracting the devices. If we look at our Dynamic 4, which is 4 displays with everything built in that you need, that can go into open spaces, it can go into closed rooms. We have proximity of the audio that's not disturbing the background. The same, we are not picking up the background either. So these are products that for sure it's a game changer and will be there and will give the flexibility needed. You don't need to be, you can easily go from 4 to 8 people, which is 8 people is a big huddle room. So yeah, that's I think the huddle room is going to stay. For sure they're going to stay, but you probably will be less people in it. And the new ones that you're going to build them a bit bigger so you can keep a certain distance. But again, it's all about communication. So it's a matter of being in the right position with the right AV in front of you to get all the information that is being presented.
Yeah, and speaking and talking about the right AV equipment that we need, how do you see the cooperation or the combination of AV equipment and artificial intelligence? Like, are we going to see more devices with voice control, with that can interpret the signs in your faces and analyze your emotions or anything like that?
Okay, that's a bit further. One thing is voice control that we think about when we ask the telephone to call somebody or what the weather is. But as you said, we are analyzing all the time and we're using data all the time. And for sure, we're going to see that if allowed, that we're going to monitor people's emotion as well. It's one thing we can do. Again, that's why we go back to the 70% of communication. It's important that we see each other. And again, that's why the camera have to be switched on, because when it's 70% of communication is the body language, but that's what we are capturing. But corporate and larger scale corporation, now that it's available or is becoming available, that you can actually monitor and you can get, let's say, a number out for how people reacted to the presentation. You can actually read out what they're thinking due to that you're analyzing their face expressions and so on. So that's for sure is the future. It's going to be there for a long time. I think it comes down to more what will we allow in these kind of situations. But again, also to get these data and all this right, we need to have cameras in the right positions and so forward.
Very good. Okay, so I think that we can conclude that, hybrid and presential meetings, face-to-face meetings are here both to stay. So we'll see a combination of both, and we'll see the AV technology adapting to these needs, and also that it needs to be secure, it needs to be inspiring, it's interesting that we can hide the technology, and we'll see a further combination between AV and AE as well. So I don't know if you would like to add something else to that.
No, I just think that we have been thinking. A lot of people have been thinking this is a short-term solution. Let's get a camera, or I have a camera on my laptop. But nobody have really been looking into the resolution on the camera on the laptop. But when corporations see the money saved on traveling, that money should start going in the direction of AV equipment and doing better AV installations, as that will be a bigger return on investment. So we need the quality in the AV equipment to go up. We need to focus more on the installation. We need to have the hybrid rooms where we spend time on. And money, of course, these two things goes together, on the furniture, being able to hide AV equipment. But having said that, there's another thing that is popping up, and that is when you can work from home, and over the last almost 2 years it has been demonstrated that it works, but people still need to get into the office. So the office space also become more important, meaning that you have to give people a reason to come in. It seems like a bit like an attraction park, you need to offer something else, especially when you say, okay, it's mandatory to be in the office. There'll be people that will be happy to get away from home. Don't know what it is at home that they want to get away from, but maybe just to change the ambient. There'll be other people that say, no, I work fine from home. I don't have to take the train ride that is an hour and a half going forth and back. So to motivate people, there have to be something additional within the office, and that means that the office design architects and interior designers is thinking a lot. What is it we can offer that makes it a special experience getting into the office? We talked about this before. You went into companies, and not all of them was offering you a cup of coffee. Now everybody's offering you a cup of coffee, but you think, what kind of cup of coffee are you offering? It's not just black coffee or filter coffee. Now it's, do you want a cappuccino? So the quality of what you're offering is not just enough having it. It's also the quality of your offering, and this. The same with food. You go into a larger company, and you see that, okay, it's the cafeteria. Oh, that's another reason to get in. So there's a lot of aspects. There's a lot of things that will go in and be more important in the future. We also have seen people or companies cutting down on office space. When they're cutting down, but you still need to have the functionalities within the building, and therefore you need to have the flexibility, and you need to think about how can we make it attractive so that people also would like to come and work for you, because talent, the world is getting smaller, but you need to be able to attract talent.
Yes.
And talent, and one of the features is also when we look at if it's the sustainability within the company, how green is the company, what kind of food, can I get a veggie meal, or Is it a bio, whatever? So there's a lot of things that is important, and working in cubes is more dead than ever. But focusing on a nice work environment, that's a bit where we're at now.
Yeah, it's like many experts also say that creativity arises when we meet together, right? So probably companies and meeting rooms and conference rooms are going to be focusing on inspiring people, on being creative, on participating, of having great ideas, of generating innovation, right? This is something that it's difficult to do with a video call, I believe.
Yeah, no, we have to see each other, we have to be together, that's for sure, both in good times and bad times. But we also know that if you go to an exhibition, we always laugh that the best deals are made when the exhibition is closed and people are walking out. Same a bit about creativity. Creativity happens at the coffee machine, where you're not thinking, you're just talking. And so, yeah, we need to be in there, and we need to be in there together. We will not be in there all at the same time, being completely filled, the office. We will be needing more space, certainly for some years to come, until there's a solution for all what's going on at the moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, very good. And we have been talking a lot about meeting rooms and conference rooms, but what about crisis rooms and command centers? Is there any specific need that arises because of COVID-19, or the design trend is exactly the same than before?
No, there are some changes there as well. If you look at it globally, the rooms have been pretty similar. But this about having extra screens accessible, maybe in a room beside it or separated for the people sitting there, so that people can come in, get an overview, and leave the room again. These are things that we see as well. So yeah, there have been some changes with extra screens. In this case, normally motorized screens, since these tables are being used for other purposes during the day.
Okay, so versatility is also an issue, that you can use the table for other purposes rather than for meetings.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, in this situation, that's the same, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So thank you very much, and thank you for listening to us. This was our first video podcast, and we hope to welcome in a new one very soon.
Yeah, I hope that this was useful for all of you, and you can use it for something. If you have any questions or anything, you can find us on HOLM.com, and you're welcome to send an email and ask questions. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.